What's up, YouTube? Jeff, your Style O.G. And on today's video, we're gonna talk about the 15 biggest dating mistakes guys are still making in 2020. If you're new to the channel, we release a new video every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, discussing various men's lifestyle topics such as style, grooming, and dating. I invite you to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and join us. And to my returning friends like Ted Williams, salute. Now trust me, I get it. Dating has never been easy, and it seems it's even more difficult nowadays. What should you do? What should you say? What should you not do? And what shouldn't you say? It's fraught with pitfalls that a lot of us guys fall into. But have no fear. On today's video, I got 15 things you can either do or avoid doing that'll make your dating experience just a little bit easier. I got some that are obvious and some you may not have given any thought to. So take this walk with me as we talk about the 15 dating mistakes a lot of us guys are still making in 2020. Now, first up on the list is one that I find is really a problem nowadays. A lot of guys, especially my younger G's out there, think they shouldn't have to compete for a woman. Here's how the common refrain goes when I'm talking about a dating topic on this channel. OG, why should I have to do all that? It sounds like a lot of work. Come on, guy, let me hit you with a little bit of tough love. Yes, it's gonna take work. We're men, we're built for competition. Are you complaining that it's too much hard work when you're trying to get the job you've always wanted? When you were trying to get in that great college, did you say, man, it shouldn't be that hard to study so much to get into this great school so I can have a career? It's just too much. Finding a mate is just as important as those other things. Why shouldn't you have to work hard? Why shouldn't you have to compete against other guys just like you do for that job or that spot at that great school? Just being a good guy isn't enough. You have to compete, know what women like, and go for the women you know. It's a big mistake if you think you shouldn't have to work hard to find a good woman. Next up, we got another problem that's definitely a modern one. I think a lot of you guys out there only look for women on dating apps. Big mistake. Yes, dating apps are simple. Yes, they're convenient. But to me, they rely too heavily on the superficial side. One of the problems it leads to is women can only judge you from superficial things when they see you on a dating app. Hence why a lot of guys think they only want me for money. I have to be tall. If you're not meeting her out in the real world and having an actual conversation, what else can she judge you by? That's why you gotta get out of the house sometime. You might actually wanna meet a woman in the real world. It can lead to a better initial connection, in my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think you should use dating apps, but just be aware that they're gonna lead to more initial superficial connection. Next up, we have a dating mistake that was a mistake 30 years ago, is a mistake today, and will be a mistake 30 years from now. Not taking the initiative when you're a guy. And that works in a couple of areas. One, if you're interested in a woman, let her know. You will be in the friend zone if you always beat around the bush. If you like her, ask her out on a date. Take the initiative. Because if you don't, you'll be hanging around for a long time, not sure if she actually likes you. Great way to get in the friend zone. But then once she agrees to the date, take another initiative step. You as the man should plan the date. One of the worst things you can do is be on the phone with a young lady asking her, what do you like to do? I don't know. What do you like to do? That's horrible. Women hate indecisiveness. You plan that date. Put everything together from A to Z. You're a man. Take charge. Take initiative. Next up, I have another mistake I see a lot of my younger G's making these days, especially across the internet. Thinking you like a woman at all makes you a simp. If you leave it up to the internet, even looking at a woman makes you a simp. Come on, guys, it's deeper than that. Like I always say, simps do exist, but just liking and be interested in a woman makes you a simp? Nah, guy. I think this attitude comes from a lot of frustrated guys, and I get it. Women can be perplexing. But anything you want in life, of course, at first you're gonna have to learn about it and be interested in it. Being interested in a woman doesn't make you a simp. It makes you a human being. But like I said, simps do exist. And if you're concerned if you're engaging in simpish behavior, I made a recent video telling you 10 signs you might be a simp. I'll leave a link in the description for your viewing pleasure. But thinking just being interested in a woman and trying to learn what women like, that doesn't make you a simp. That's a huge mistake. Next up, let's talk about a mistake a lot of guys make once they get on that date, especially a first date. You should not talk about religion or politics. These are potential minefields when you're getting to know someone. You'll have plenty of time once you get to know each other along the line to talk about these topics. These topics are just too heavy when you're first getting to know someone, and they can easily lead to arguments or debate. Arguing and debating is not the proper way to go about having an initial date. Leave those discussions to once you realize you like each other and you can accept potential differences. It's always better when you're first getting to know someone, put the religion and the politics to the side. You'll notice this video was titled The Biggest Dating Mistakes Guys Are Making in 2020. That's why the next tip is a modern mistake you want to stay away from. Please, when you're out on a date, put the phone away. Now I get it, in these modern times, most of us are addicted to the phone. But if you're out on a date with someone you're really interested in, it should be about getting to know her. Those text messages and emails and notifications aren't going anywhere. They will be there after the date. And trust me, your date is noticing if you're not putting her front and center. Have what's called present time consciousness. If you're out on a date with someone you're interested in, she should be important enough that getting to know her and her getting to know you should be the utmost priority. Nobody, especially women, like to be ignored or seem like you're not that into them. Please, whatever you do on the date, put the phone away. Another mistake you might make on that first or initial set of dates is talking too much about the past or the future. Here's the thing, when you're first getting to know someone, nobody wants to get too heavy. And when you talk about the past, especially if you're talking about exes, there's no upside into discussing other women, especially women that didn't work out. Leave that out. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, don't talk too much about the future, especially if you find yourself really into this woman. Don't start talking about marriage and how many kids you want to have too soon. You might scare her off. Deal with the here and now. Get to know her. Learn each other's likes and dislikes. Talking about the past, very little upside. Talking about the future, the same thing. Worry about today. Next up on the list, we're still talking about conversation mistakes. Whatever you do, don't talk too much about yourself. That's a key mistake a lot of guys make. Bragging, showing off. Nobody wants to hear that. You're there to get to know each other. Make sure it's a balance of her talking about her, you talking about you, and asking each other questions about one another. Now, this may come off as old school or a bit traditional, but in my opinion, women like to talk more than men. If she's out with you and you're doing all the talking, she's not gonna like it. Here's a simple rule of thumb to go by. For every one question she asks you, ask her 2 questions. Here's another huge mistake that men have always made and continue to make in 2020. Talking about or trying to get too physical too soon. Now I get it, she's very attractive. It's hard to keep your hands off of her. Please resist the urge in the beginning. That can be very off-putting to women. And here's a little secret. If she wants to get physical with you, she's made that decision pretty quickly. Just let it happen organically, my guy. Let me tell you another thing. She's already going to decide whether she's interested in that area. All you can do is talk her out of it. Keep your mouth closed. Talking about it or being too handsy is never a great approach. These type of things usually happen best when they happen naturally. Keep the physical talk and the physical activity to a minimum in the beginning. Next up on the list of the biggest dating mistakes guys are still making in 2020, being cheap. Now here's where I hit you with a little bit of tough love. If you find yourself pinching pennies and worried about how much you're gonna spend, you're probably not in a financial position that you should be dating in the first place. Dating costs money. If you don't have it, get on your grind, save up, and then get back into the dating game. However, I'm not suggesting that you should be throwing money at women or going over the top or extravagant. I'm just saying, don't be cheap. No woman likes that. And I generally don't go over the top on the first date. When I'm trying to get to know someone, I'll probably meet them for some coffee or a drink. It's a great way to have quiet conversation get to know someone, and see if you want to go any further. But on subsequent dates, we're going to step it up a little bit. You're going to have to come out of that pocket, my guy. And I'm not just talking about gold diggers. Good women don't want a cheap guy anyway. If she's thinking long term, she wants to know if you're going to be stable and be able to provide. Being cheap shows an inability or an unwillingness to be able to do so. Next up on the list is another big mistake I find a lot of modern guys doing, especially on the internet. Feeling like you shouldn't care what women want or like. That's a pushback I get from a lot of guys when I make my dating videos. Why should I have to care about what she wants? That's simping. Take the red pill. Yeah, okay. Anything in life, just like a job or school or career, you have to know what it takes to accomplish it. Why would that change when it comes to women? But hear me out. I'm not saying you should be ruled by what women like. You should be aware of it and act accordingly. Don't make the mistake of thinking you should be the super alpha guy that shouldn't care what women like. That's uninformed and, in my opinion, pretty corny. Don't make the mistake of thinking you shouldn't be aware of what women like. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I've always seen guys make, whether it's 30 years ago or now, is when you're dating, only pursuing one woman at a time. Here's the problem with that. Before you get to know any particular women, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. It can lead to you overvaluing that one particular woman. It can easily lead to you putting her on a pedestal. But here's the thing. Date a couple of people initially, but as you figure out who you like the most, that's when you concentrate on that one woman. Especially for my younger G's out there. You have to date around to find out what you like and what you don't like. Focusing on that one woman that you have this huge crush on is fraught with problems. It can put you in a weak, submissive position. So initially, when you first start dating, don't date just one woman. Once you figure out the one you really like, then it's okay to put all your effort and attention on her. And that piggybacks right into the next point I want to make. A big dating mistake a lot of guys make. Being too submissive or subservient to a woman. Here's what I mean. Yes, you should be aware of what women like, but don't go out of your way to please them. Don't fall all over yourself trying to make her feel good. Yes, it's okay to be kind. It's okay to be polite and generous. But don't put her up on a pedestal, especially if you don't even know her yet. Be polite, be kind, but don't be a pushover. There are women who will take advantage of it, and it will seem like she likes, and to be honest with you, she doesn't respect you. You guys are equals. Treat her as such. Don't date from a position of submissiveness. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, don't make this other mistake. Do not be too rigid. Don't be the my way or the highway guy. Don't have this checklist of she has to be this, she has to do this, she has to agree with everything I say. That's not cool either. Don't try to be Mr. Cool, I don't care what you think, do things my way kind of guy. That's just as cornball as the submissive guy. Ease up on the rigidness, my guy. Life is lived in the gray areas. You don't have to be a punk, but you don't have to be a jerk either. Cool out. And last but certainly not least on my list of the 15 biggest dating mistakes guys are making in 2020, this one is very important. Not being on your purpose. Here's the thing. Yes, women are important. Dating is a priority, but it shouldn't be the priority. The first priority is making sure you're on the path to being the best version of you can be. When you're a man who's on purpose, you'll notice you attract more of the women you like. And the thing about it is, women don't want a man who only is thinking about them. They want you to have other outside interests. This is where your hobbies and your goals come into play. When you're the best you can be, you'll notice dating gets a lot easier. Now, I want you to be aware of what women like. I just don't want you obsessed with it. So although dating is important, what's most important is being on your purpose. Okay, so there you have it. My list of the 15 biggest dating mistakes guys are still making in 2020. Make sure you hit me up in the comment section. Let me know if you agree, disagree. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, hit that like button. Helps the channel to grow. And of course, tap that notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos we release every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And I'll check you out the next time.